Welcome to Meet Me in the City, a podcast exploring music through the boroughs of America. I'm joined, as always, by my two buddies and co-hosts, Sean and Dan. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Hi. I'm doing great.
It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and we're here in Loveland, Ohio.
We are in Loveland, Ohio, and
on
location. We also have on the microphone producer Sprinkle is out live with us today.
It's true. I'm here.
Calm down.
Mr. Understated.
Yes, he's very excited. I know you can't tell, but he is. We are on location. I was just thinking about this on the way here. We have recorded in a coffee roaster, garage,
Yes.
cigar lounge. What else?
Cabin.
boys?
A bar.
In Springfield.
Cabin
Yeah.
in Springfield. A bar.
Top of Dan's house. In a room in his
That's
house.
true. Dan's house. And today is, I think, the first time we've recorded in a proper studio
Yeah.
because we're in Loveland.
Yeah.
And
Like a recording studio. We did do UD, which is more of just radio show, which Sprinkle really enjoyed.
That was fun.
Yeah. We'll see if Sprinkle, maybe you'll have as much fun today as you did that day.
Hope so. Yeah.
I think so. And on the podcast, we have, we never do this as we set things up, but we already said we're in Loveland. So I guess we're in Loveland via Oxford, via Middletown.
The shitty mitty.
Welcome to the podcast, Terry Cole. Terry.
Thanks for having me on. So do you normally not get excited about life or
No,
things?
I'm having a great time. Yeah.
He is
That's
so
his
even
excitement.
keeled. Yeah.
he's
Just even.
Yeah.
Just
Now,
steady.
it's funny when we have guests on. Well, usually he's not on the mic, and they'll say something that excites him, and he's like, yeah.
Dialed in.
Hand,
He's
hand in the
listening.
air.
He's listening.
Yeah.
Wave it like you just don't care.
Yeah. How'd you know?
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Wow, we,
Yeah.
This is a good change of pace for Saturday morning.
we,
Sleep it in.
No, not lately. Just
that's
getting up, feeding a baby, watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
yeah, that kind of gives us a mark for where we are in time. I think the Olympics are done this weekend, right?
Yeah, there's the gold medal hockey game tomorrow.
morning.
And then the curling gold, I think, is today. Dude, me and Laura are going to go take curling lessons after
Christy,
all this.
my wife, is big
Loves
time.
it.
Yeah.
There's one in Westchester. It's
Really?
like $55 per for like a 2-hour lesson.
Wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
Shout out to the Westchester Curling Club, I guess.
I just look at the ice and I think a man my size and my age probably shouldn't be on it.
I'm gonna try.
They have
I'm gonna
special
try.
shoes. So
You're
don't
younger
fall.
and smaller than me. You're not as big
I don't
as
think I
I
have
am.
any CLs left. I think all my CLs they're all gone. I don't think M's, P's, L's, A's. They're just.
Just there.
Is that from skateboarding? Or?
I think soccer, and then
Okay.
just trying to ski
Ooh, yeah.
and failing at skiing, and just losing them over the years. I went to see a doctor one time. They listened to my knee, and they were like, "Yeah, there's not much going on in there. There's just there's some bones, some muscle, but we don't hear very many ligaments." And I was like, "Cool, that's about right." I think I heard them break. So that explains that.
You can go without them. My wife completely tore her MCL and ACL 2 years ago getting on a boat, and 7 days. Yeah, it's crazy. Don't even. I probably
Dan
shouldn't tell
finds
that.
that really funny.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. She lived with it for like
It
5
wasn't a
months
big boat.
before, and walked around like concerts, everything without. So you can do it
Wow.
without.
I haven't had any surgery because I
crazy.
didn't have insurance when I broke the first one, and yeah, eventually, if you do exercises, you can grow muscle around to kind of.
Oh wow!
I mean, it's not like the same. Yeah, compensate. It's not the same thing, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's weird. It's no good. Also, I'm not trying to ski, so I'm good.
Terry is the owner of Coal Mine Records. I don't know actually how that. I mean, I know that's probably pretty accurate, right?
Yeah, I would. So Bob and I. So it's one legal entity.
Okay.
So Plaidroom Records LLC is the overarching legal entity.
Okay.
And Bob and I are co-owners of that, and then Coal Mine is a part of that.
Under the umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I primarily operate, but I'd say we used to be 50-50 on like the workload.
I wondered about that.
Yeah, like back in the early days, 2015, we were definitely both 50-50 on Plaid Room and Coal Mine. And as both sides have grown, he does the Plaid Room side,
Yeah.
I do the Coal Mine side. We're probably more like 95-5. We should be like 85-15 or something. That would be healthy, but I think both sides are still just like kind of growing and finding systems and stuff. So
your time is mostly with the label, the record label.
mostly just emails. Yeah, most of my time is just mostly
Reaching out.
Mostly not even reaching out, just trying not to be reached out to. Most of my time is just but yes, label stuff, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of Google Meets. Mostly that.
Love those, don't you?
I kind of do.
Do you?
I mean, I prefer them. I'm like a chatty Cathy, so I do like them. As long as they're with people that I like and enjoy being
Right.
around, it's fun. And sometimes you can get a lot more done than you can via email. But yeah, that's pretty much all I do is just talk to people all day. Laura was like, somebody asked her what I do, and she's like, talks to people on the phone. I don't really know. Occasionally makes records, but mostly just talks to people on the phone about records.
Hey.
So
Going back to 2015, that's when we met. I don't know if you remember the first conversation we ever had. I've
Nope.
probably reminded you of it. I was living here in Cincinnati at the time, and I found out that Plaid Room was opening up, and I was like, oh, great, another record store. I'd already been frequenting all the stores, and at that point, there was Shake It, Everybody's, Black Plastic, I think was
Torn
around.
Light, maybe.
Yeah,
Still.
Torn Light probably was still there.
Phil's
Is that another?
in Northern Kentucky.
Okay, I don't know if I ever went there.
Oh, Phil's, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
CD.
still-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think you and I
By
went
my
to one
house.
time.
CD
Yeah, I
record
went with you
bar. Back,
Oh, okay.
C&D record bar.
Yeah, that's
it was.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. When I found out this new place is open up and it's like 20 minutes from my house, I thought, oh, I wonder what this is about. And it was just like a post or two. And there was a number, I think, on a Facebook page. And I was like, well, I'll just call them and see when they're open. Call up. I'm pretty sure it was your cell phone.
It was my cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, hello?
I was probably teaching.
I don't know where you were, but I was like, is this the guy that's opening the record store? He's like, yeah. I was like, are you guys open? He's like, well, you said, well, we have some records here. You can come by and look if you want.
Oh, it might have been before we were open.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think it was like right at that. And then, so what 2015 when?
Yeah. So
We'll hit here and then I want to go back to the beginning, but
okay, so 2014. I went on the summer of 2014. I went on this really big road. Well, I got divorced first time, and went on this big road trip across the states, like hustling the label because the label already existed at that point.
Oh wow.
And so I went to like 100 some record stores, just like kind of like peddling my wares to record stores. And a lot of them I already had relationships with, and I'd been selling wholesale to them for years. But they're in California, and I'd never met them. Yep. And so I was like, well, I have summers off. I'm a teacher. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna go hit the road.
get it.
And so I went on the road for about 60 days, came back. It was very affirming to see all these labels across the country that were like, oh, we love your label. And at this point, I only had 2 LPs and maybe 30 45s. And
Jive Turkey is one of those.
yes, Jive Turkey's LP and the Postales LP.
Okay.
But really nothing, like no other LPs beside those, and a bunch of 45s. And so I got back, started teaching, and then my superintendent really pissed me off that October. He came in and said something about my hair, and I was just like, so like that kid's mom just died of heroin, this is. You're worried about this.
Yeah.
So I was like really, really mad. And so that day, I drove down to Loveland because Bob and I had biked a bunch down here that summer. And I was like, I wonder if I could open a record store and just like quit teaching. And I'd just been to like 100. And so I sort of had an idea of like, oh, well, this is a viable thing. Like,
Yep.
This is like at the dawn of when the vinyl resurgence is.
Yeah, I think it was kind of already going, but not big time yet.
Nothing crazy yet, but like it was definitely on the upswing.
Yeah.
And so I'd kind of been able to observe all these stores that were thriving in different ways, and so I was like, I can do this. And also, Bob and I had experience selling records. We had sold records on eBay in high school and college, so we like knew how to flip records. Yeah, so that was 2014. I think we got a lease, the OG spot in November. And so like November, December, January, we were just building the store out. And yeah, the phone number was definitely my cell number. And I would get calls while I was teaching, and I would just be like, shut up, kids. And
Daddy's got to make some money.
It's like School of Rock. You're like the School of Rock, dude.
It's not professional, but it was fine. And yeah, we opened up Valentine's Day of 2015.
Oh wow!
So there was definitely a 3-month period where we were building it. Like I would get up. I was living in Loveland by then, I think. So I would get up, drive to Middletown, teach. I had 7th period plans, so I would dip out right after 6th period at like 1:15, get down to Loveland, and then me and Bob would just like build until 10 p.m. and then we'd go to sleep, and we did that for like 3 months.
What was Bob doing at that time?
Bob had just finished grad school the previous year, and he had a job as a computer engineer for, I forget the name of the company, some like lock, Central Lock maybe. He was doing coding and stuff on the back end. But we were both like, well, we need to keep our jobs because we need like money. And so I knew I was going to quit that year, but I knew I would have money at least until like September coming in. And Bob was like, well, I can like do plaid room work at my job, kind of like I can do orders and shit at work. And then one day I came in from teaching in like March or something. I came in and he was there, and I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh yeah, I quit my job. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. Nice. Thanks for telling me. Sick.
I'm all in. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like he definitely thought he was not going to be. He thought he was just going to like help me get it off the ground. And he's like, sure, I'll help get it off the ground. It's cool. And then it was like, yeah, never mind. I'm all in. So yeah, that was the early days. So when you called, it was probably sometime between December and February.
Oh, for sure.
And I was probably most assuredly in front of children.
Yeah.
And was like, shut up. Shut up. This is my ticket out, you idiots.
You're not going to see me next year.
You got to be in this with me, you guys.
I love teaching though. It was so fun.
So how did Coal Mine get started? And when did Coal Mine get started?
Coal Mine started 2007. Okay. I was finishing undergrad at Miami, and I had been in a band called, I didn't name this band. The band was called Soundscape.
We love band names or attempted band names. That's like one of our favorite things.
So that was an emo band.
Could have been Enya adjacent.
Enya?
It was not. It was so we were a hip hop band. It was like a hip hop funk
Really?
band. Yeah,
Wow.
and the MC Lewis Rideout, who was from Detroit, and I had started making beats, and I basically made an album with Lewis. And I was like, man, and it was actually part of independent study at Miami, even though I was a zoology major, but I think I took just as many music history and music composition hours as I did zoology. And I somehow convinced my composition professor to let me do an independent study where I just made beats for like 4 credit hours
That's
for
amazing.
for like 3 semesters.
Awesome.
Amazing.
I think I got 3 12-hour, I think I got 12 hours of 400 level music composition for making beats. And I would go in every week and like talk to Dr. Shepard and be like, hey, here's what I'm doing. He's like, he'd give me his feedback, and it was awesome.
How many people ever did that besides you?
Well, there was an electronic. It started so Dr. Tammy Kernodle, who teaches a bunch of like the Black music history classes at Miami. I took all her classes and I was like, I love this. I just want to do this all the time. And I was obviously already way like steeped in music history. I mean, I'd started selling records when I was 12 on eBay. So like my point of reference was already pretty like
You were already situated.
So the classes were just like, I loved it. And then I took an electronic music class with James Shepard. And it was like, it went from like early, like post-classical, early electronic, all the way up through, it kind of ended with hip hop. Like that was like when it finished off. But we did like just like all kinds of weird abstract composition stuff, and it was fun. It was like 12 of us.
Like Walter Carlo.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
John Cage, and just really weird, cool stuff.
Yeah.
And they only had one course in it, and I was like, I wanted to just, can I like keep doing this in some capacity? And because there was a studio we had access to for that class. And so I talked to him, and I was like, hey, I'm like working on all this music, and I don't know if there's a way to parlay this into, credits somehow. And he helped me write up the thing for it. And so I just did that for like 2 or 3 semesters.
Basically wrote your own syllabus.
I did. It was so sick.
That's awesome.
And it was fun. Like I was like in the back of my zoology class, like pretending to listen, and really I'm just on GarageBand, like.
You're in zoology classes doing electronic.
I probably didn't do as well in animal physiology. First of all, it was 8 a.m, but then also I was like I just wanted to make music, and I was like.
Animals are animals. Come on.
I was like, I get this, I think, but I don't know. But I did, I got my Zoe degree, and then I got my minor. But it was awesome. And so by the end of undergrad, I had this album done, and I wanted to start selling it at shows. And I didn't want it to look like just like we were just DIYing it. I wanted it to look like fake, that we were signed. So I made up Coal Mine as a label that we were like signed to, and I drew the logo on a napkin in the Oxford subway, and I was like, that's it, that's the logo, and it's still our logo. And we printed up like 500 CDs, and I was like, I will never financially recover from this. But then we got. So that was 2007, and then it got licensed by a Japanese record label, P-Vine. Wow. And they gave, because a record store in Chicago bought like 5 copies from me at wholesale, Dusty Groove. And because they bought it, it was on their website, and because it was on their website, people could like look about it and like find it.
Yeah.
And so, this record label from Japan hit us up and was like, we'd like to license it. And I was like, you're going to pay me money for this thing that I did? And
in class.
Yeah, and like that was the first time I like thought like, oh, this could be a thing. And this is also happening the same time I'm like getting deep into Daptone and Truth and Soul and this whole like soul revival that's happening in Brooklyn.
All these labels that are adjacent to kind of some of the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, and it was like, and so it was just like, I just wanted to figure out how to do that in Ohio. Yeah. So that was 2007.
So I know we want to go back,
go ahead,
and you mentioned 12 years old selling records, Go back, like, you grew up in Middletown. Tell us about, like, your origin, like, growing up with your family. When did you start getting into music? All of that, way back.
I think it was middle school, for sure. And I think in middle school I started going through my mom's records, and she had like Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and Yes and ELP, and I was like, damn, this shit's cool. And I think everybody kind of goes through a lot of dudes go through a classic rock phase at some point or another, and most people do, I think. And so that was like the beginning. My dad was a record collector.
Oh, really?
So he collected like doo-wop 45s, and like I just thought that shit was lame. And I was like, that's so stupid. But then
big 78 guy too, right?
Not only because it made us money. So that was the way we got into set. So
sorry, I didn't mean to get a tangent.
I'll take it there because that's so we started. This is like middle school. I'm like getting into music. I want to learn how to play bass. I'm like starting to play, with my friends, play music. And we had to figure out a way to pay for college. And because there's 4 of us boys, and my dad was a steel worker. Mom worked as a secretary for the schools. So, it was like but we're smart, but we're like, probably not going to qualify for right in that middle class where like you don't qualify for much help, but you need help.
Yep.
So we were like, all right, well, Dad was like, well, this is the dawn of eBay. And Dad was like, well, maybe we could sell records, on this eBay thing. I hear my friends talking about it. And we were like, sure, that's cool. But he didn't want to sell his 45s because he liked his 45s and he was emotionally attached to his 45s. But he's frugal and he's shrewd and he knows what's worth money. And so he's like, well, I've got all these 78s and I know that they're worth money. And I've got all these LPs and I know that they're worth money. And I don't give a shit about these. So we started selling 78s and LPs on eBay. And there was already a lot of people early on selling 45s, like rare 45s. And there really wasn't a ton of people selling 78s. So like Dad truly, like even still on the eBay, in the eBay game, like T.A. Cole 1944 has some swagger in the 78 world because he started that early. And so we just sold 78s from like the age of 12 to, until I graduated college. That was my only, like, I worked at a CD store in Middletown, CD Connection. But I didn't have any other actual jobs for the most part until after college. So that's how it started. But yeah, we sold them because Dad didn't want to sell us 45.
Okay, all right.
It's all selfish. It's all like, no, not my treasures. Not my 45 treasures. These are my where do ones.
Do you think that growing up around that, knowing how much he appreciated and liked that format, did that impact you later on?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think once I saw that like Daptone was doing that, I thought, this is so cool. It's such a fun format for so many reasons, and
almost more inconvenient than regular LPs. And
it's the most inconvenient. But from a creative standpoint, it's there's historically there's so many bands that only made 145, or a label that only made 145, or a band that went under a different name to make a 45, and probably
because they felt like you did when you put that 500 run of CDs out, like that's all they could do.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, and it might have been the end.
Yeah,
it probably was for most, and that's why Numero Group exists.
Yes,
because they've gobbled up all those rights. So I think, but for me, contemporarily, I think the 45 format is beautiful because the lift is so low. You got to make 2 songs. You got to come up with label art. Mm-hmm. That's it. And it's kind of a cool experimental space. You can go on a tangent and be like, I want to do a 45 kind of like this and see how it feels and see if people like it. And if you like it, cool. Maybe you turn that into an LP. But if it can also just be a little exit ramp for a moment and just to kind of see how things go. I sort of view it as like putting on a mask. Like I'll be like, I want to make this type of 45. Mm-hmm. And, we'll just take like a very specific approach for a 45. Be like, I want to make it, dope drums and Latin break beats and all this stuff. And we'll just focus on that for these 2 tracks. So it's fun. I don't know. It gives you focus a bit.
That's cool.
So when you, this is jumping forward. So when you bring on a new band, is that kind of testing the waters then? Is that how that you do that?
Yeah, for sure. It depends on what the music is. Because not all, in my opinion, not all music makes sense on a 45. A lot of what we do, like soul, funk, R&B, instrumental stuff does belong and do well with, because essentially 45s are meant for DJs for the most part.
Right.
So, we've done plenty of 45s over the years where the quantity is small because we know it's not going to sell a crazy, a singer-songwriter 45 is sort of maybe just a thing to kind of break them in the world a little bit, but you're not expecting to sell thousands and thousands of copies or anything.
Right,
So
yeah.
it is very genre and song dependent. Some songs are just like, oh yeah, this should be on a 45.
When did you start getting into funk and soul? You're into Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all that trippy 70s.
High school for sure. High school, as I started to get into jazz and hip hop and funk and R&B, and then in college, even more.
So aside from, did you have somebody like a mentor that was just or a friend?
My older brother. Yeah, my older brother Scott was 10 years older than me. He also worked at CD Connection, and so after I kind of start getting into classic rock and Rush, and God, I love Rush.
Rush, man.
I love Rush so much.
I've been listening to them lately because they're getting back together. The drummer's killer. The new drummer is awesome.
Laura is so sick of how much I sing Rush to Olivia.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna brainwash her and just be like, "This is cool, okay? This is cool."
It doesn't work that way. I'm just going to tell you, somebody who's about 20 years on the other side of that.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
But hopefully for you, it does.
Not gonna happen, huh? But Scott, my older brother, he has very eclectic taste, and he had just like a bazillion CDs by the time I'm 15, 16, so I could go in his room and see these I distinctly remember looking at Pink Floyd's Pulse and seeing like the little thing on the side, like, that's so cool, and then seeing. 2 CD sets stood out. So you see, oh, wow, Allman Brothers live at the Fillmore. This is thick. This must be important. Or, certain out, Physical Graffiti. Like, oh, wow, this is two LPs. So, yeah, Scott definitely was a big guiding light. Dad, obviously, records were everywhere, but I didn't really care about what Dad was into musically for the most part. Now there's a little bit more crossover with, like, post-doo-wop and early soul, like there is like the Impressions are sort of the perfect example of where Dad's interests and my interests converge. But Scott definitely, jazz, opening my world to jazz and funk and more out there fusion and stuff like that. Yeah, he was definitely the one guiding that.
It's almost without fail when we talk to folks, there's somebody like that. Either an older brother, a cousin, a friend's brother, or cousin, or sister, or somebody has...
Cute girlfriend.
Could be anything, really. But there's always someone who's like, anybody. Could be anything. Who puts...
Girlfriend's mom.
Sorry.
Do tell.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we getting autobiographical?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm
always
thinking
someone putting somebody onto something.
Yeah, that's the whole, that's the power of record stores contemporarily, too.
Yeah.
It's like that's my favorite reason for going into a record store is just to go in there and see what they're playing and be like, oh, what is this? This is cool.
We've talked about it several times, but my son, Owen, and that's how we know Sprinkle, too, is through Owen. But Sean and I, with our friends, would go to CD Connection, flip through, and, and we're in there and you hear stuff and stuff. And then when Owen got old enough that I'm going into record shops with Will and Owen and myself are going to hitting record shops and flipping through and yeah, it's amazing. It's almost like a safe space, you're going into, and
it's also it stands sort of in contrast to the algorithm.
Everything. Everything.
It's like the last, any sort of curated, whatever the right word is, space is just. I think there is and is going to be a more massive craving in the near future for curated things. People are going to be looking even more for outlets or locations or people or labels or companies to curate for them because people are fatigued with the algorithm.
I think what we're doing right now is part of that too. You see, we were talking a little bit before we came in about the whole podcast world, and you end up getting people who are kind of onto your thing because they discover or you're helping them to discover new artists, new labels, that kind of stuff. I just think that's the way of the future.
It's like the way of the past and the way of the
right.
future.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I think it's not. I just think there's too much stuff that comes out every day, like 65,000 songs on Spotify every day,
right.
And there's too much stuff. And so you have to have some sort of filters in place or people directing you to what is deemed worthy or not worthy. And you have to find things and people that you trust.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Growing up in a house with, it sounds like tons of music around that led you to classic rock and then beyond. Were you encouraged by your parents, like, birthdays, Christmas, you get money, were you going out and buying stuff yourself?
For sure. Yeah.
Do you remember?
There wasn't a whole lot of like there was definitely not them sort of, besides Scott introducing me to things, they weren't really like pushing things on me or like
Okay.
really much of introductions. Mom would just be like, oh yeah, that's my Led Zeppelin records. But definitely, like, that's where all my money went, to CDs. Like, I remember for Christmas, I got that Shine On Floyd box set, and I was like, this is my 16th chapel. Like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm going to display it in my room. So, yeah, I mean, that's where all my money went. And then I definitely, once I realized that CD Connection wasn't keeping very good inventory, then my collection got really large somehow. It was crazy. Hi, Hans and Helga, if you're listening.
Oh my god, that's why they're not in business anymore.
For
We,
real.
we like to say we're not looking for confessions on this podcast, but
We seem to get them.
if you're willing to give them, we'll take them.
Sorry.
So you get through high school, Middletown.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any influence in growing up in Middletown,
Middletown?
on your music styles and stuff?
I don't think so.
No.
Were you going to shows and stuff in high school?
Yeah. I mean, we were all, would go see bands and whatnot. And I got into the jam band scene for a brief moment in college, high school and college.
It's a safe space, Terry. You can admit if you still are or not.
I mean, I still like
Will needs a.
I still like the Dead. I still like a very specific subset of the Dead a lot.
Say more.
I mean, I really like the early Dead with Pigpen
Yeah,
a lot.
the more psych stuff.
But then I also really like 73 to 77 a whole
Yeah.
lot. And then there's a few shows in the 80s that get me. But for the most part, like that's a pretty basic sweet spot.
It is. It is. 78's pretty good too.
Yeah. And once they came back,
Yeah.
that was when they were tighter. And I like a lot of that stuff in the middle, like that Jerry Garcia band stuff where they were
man.
actually playing music and not just like
Well,
noodling.
he was doing stuff that you were totally into because he was hitting Motown, soul, like
and
all
like he
those.
had a band of like a band,
Oh, yeah.
like a
Yeah.
band
Backup
of
singers,
murderers.
yes.
Yeah, and that stuff's really really cool. But yeah, I wouldn't say Middletown specifically had any sort of influence. I mean,
So you go to Miami. What are you hitting up in Miami? We know that there's a couple record shops there.
Looney T-Birds, was that still there?
it was not there.
Okay.
But ironically, for as white as Oxford, Ohio is, I somehow found myself in black music history classes and in a hip hop band, and it was wild. It was like
Yeah.
wild
That
to
is
think
wild
that
for Oxford.
like a very preppy, Oxford Beamer sort of town. Bob
Could have been
Drexler.
in a glee club.
And it's like it's wild. But I mean, like I sometimes when I would visit like OU, I'd be like, oh, I should have gone here. Like,
Yeah.
this is way more my speed. But I think about it, and I'm like, man, I wouldn't have met all these people,
Yeah.
and that had such an influence on me musically. My time there. So
So go ahead.
So you talked about bass. You started playing bass. That was your 1st instrument. So why did you want to play bass? Like, why did you even want to
I think
play?
I wanted to play bass because it seemed easier than guitar. And
Less strings.
yeah, less strings, and more closely tied to rhythm and drums. And I was like, that's cool. And I think a bunch of my buddies already played guitar, and so I felt like, oh, okay, I could do. And my friend Andrew Gagoski had an extra bass because he was about to get a new one. And so he sold me his old bass for like $35, I think. I was like, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was just, I don't know, sort of like seemed easy-ish and fun. And, yeah, I'm happy I did.
So were you in a band then with those guys originally?
Yeah, we played music in high school together, and then in college, definitely started playing a lot more, out, like gigging. Like we had shows like once a week or twice a week, and in Oxford,
Wow.
like that was. We actually made some pretty good bread by the time I was done because the band got smaller, and our crowds got bigger, and so the money got way better. Like I remember my last year, I was like, "We're getting all this money for one show. This is crazy." But I mean, we went and didn't have a lot of competition as far as hip hop bands in Oxford, Ohio go. So, yeah, we were the only game in town in that capacity.
So coal mine,
Exists 2007.
okay, and you take a road trip, hit up all these record shops.
Yeah, I taught for about almost 10 years, 8 or 9 years. Then I do the trip. Yep.
Yeah. And so you come back and you're like, let's do this.
No, I
No.
did. When I came back and I was like, that was cool. I'm gonna just go back to teaching now,
And still work on the label.
and still
Just
keep the
kinda
label.
on
Yeah, the label was like a hobby.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it was never anything where I thought, I dreamed about like it'd be cool if I could run this full time, but it was just a hobby.
Like, how many bands did you have on the label at that point?
At that point, it was like I said, it was pretty much all 45s, but there were probably like 15 different bands. Wow. But it's not like I'm represent.
Right,
it's not like
right,
it was just like, oh yeah, I'll put. Really, the hilarious thing to think about in the early days of the label is that me, a public school teacher, was just the guy that had like $1,100 willing to invest in some 45s.
Yeah.
And the bands that I was working with didn't. And so I was the financier of this situation as a flushed with cash public school
Flush.
teacher. Yeah.
That doesn't seem to gel most times.
Middletown
does it?
teachers, boy, they're
Oh, yeah.
raking it in.
Let me complain a little bit about my salary as a teacher. So I have, master's degrees and, bachelor's degrees, whatever. And my pay, I think, was frozen for 7 years.
Yeah.
Of the 10 years that you were teaching?
Yeah. So by the time I
Jeez.
got out, I think I started at 36. And I think by the time I got out, I was at 42.
Wow.
That's a crime.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My wife taught Springboro for years, and her steps were frozen for a while in
Dude.
Springboro.
It's steps frozen is just a gut check.
Yeah.
It's just because I didn't want to leave Middletown, but then
Right.
my last year I had a couple chats with some Lakota West and East about starting a zoology program there, and they told me what I would be making, and I was like, that's close. That's approaching double what
Yeah.
I'm making now. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But my loyalty to Middletown kept me there. So.
And Middletown is, for people who are listening from wherever that don't know Middletown, it's closer to a true urban school district than suburban.
Yeah, for sure. I love Middletown.
It was a steel town for a long time.
Dead steel town. Wall Street ranked it one of the top dying towns in America at some point. Hell yeah.
I think
go
Dave was
Middies.
in there too at one point.
But it's like so many other Rust Belt towns.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not a unique story. It's just but yeah, Middletown's pretty diverse. And I think, by the time I got to Oxford, I think that the diversity of Middletown and just dealing with different types of people from different backgrounds and socioeconomic levels and racial backgrounds and everything. Like, I felt so much more prepared for life when I met people that were in Oxford that came from Mason or
Sure.
something.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Right.
you just came from one thing and then
Very
kind of
similar
a
to
clone.
Right.
And so I felt like I had this like weird leg up by the time I got to Oxford, which I really appreciate and still do.
Sure.
And, it kind of keeps you humble and grounded in reality of other people's situations.
And probably at the time, though, as you're growing up, you don't realize any of this until you're
the time
teaching.
you're just
and-
like, I hate this place. I don't
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up. I went to Dayton Public I was in Dayton until I was 15, and I think so much of my musical tastes were shaped and formed by my friends that I had growing up because they were into. It was all at the dawn of hip hop and so much into all that stuff because of the kids I went to school with.
Right. And if you were going to private school in Dayton,
Or
who
when
knows?
I moved to
Oakland.
Kettering and I was like, this is a lot of white people over here, and they all listen to Steve Miller Band.
Yeah. I had white shock when I moved to Loveland.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was just like, damn, it's a lot of whites down there.
White people.
They're
Yeah.
everywhere. That's the only, like, even when Laura moved here, I think she was just like, and we started talking about having a kid, that, that's the one. We love Loveland.
sure.
We love you, Loveland. You're
Yes.
great. But that's the one thing we're just like, we got to make sure that she, like, realizes this is
Tough.
not everything,
Yeah,
like,
it's tough.
this is town.
But you will because of who you are.
Right.
Yeah, you travel. You know, we've been talking about that so much. Like, I can't wait to start traveling with her because,
Yeah.
like, I feel like that is the best. That's the best education. You know, just like making it a normal part of her life.
Big
You
world.
go places. Yeah.
Traveling, but also the bands and the people you have come in here
Yeah,
to
yeah,
record.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and she'll be immersed in that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
you're-
gosh, what a childhood she's
Yeah.
in for,
Wow,
growing
yeah.
up with
Amazing.
a studio in the basement
Yeah.
and artists coming in and out.
She's gonna be like, "This music sucks."
Then she'll like it when she's later in life,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
yeah,
Like you did with.
It's funny when you're talking about your class you're taking. My oldest daughter's music education major at Ohio State, and so she takes all these history classes, and the only text I will get from her when she's in those classes is, "Hey, we talked about this band or this artist," and she knows them because I played this stuff for her previously.
It's taken 20-some years, but you're finally getting
Yeah,
you go,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, payback.
finally paying off a little.
So you got coal mine. Decide to start Plaid Room, and obviously they converge. When does does coal mine take off even more because of the Plaid Room, or
Yeah, for sure.
okay.
Yeah,
Real time, kind of, right?
yeah. They were definitely, you know, running a label out of your basement is cool, but running a label out of a record store gives you a face.
Yeah,
And it more than anything, and we had this conversation, Bob and I, early on, and it really did play out this way. Our thought was if we could sort of immerse ourselves in the industry via the record store, and we're interfacing as the store with labels and distributors and artists and things, we could just take all of the knowledge that we were observing on the shop side and apply it as needed to the label side.
Oh, it's
and
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
smart.
well,
it's such-
and you guys were uniquely positioned with the two of you, with his background and your background understanding of music stuff. Like you guys were set
yeah,
up.
we are definitely a extremely complementary skill set.
yeah.
Like where we cross over is sort of data analysis and overarching problem solving, because we both are like data dorks, and I think if there was like an Excel Olympics, like I would be there. I would at least be like contending.
Get a medal.
Nice.
Yeah,
Would
I don't
that
know if I
be
get a medal, but I'm pretty
winter,
close.
summer? Maybe that's a spring event that we could introduce to the world.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen some people have sent me some Instagram reels that I don't know if they're real or fake, but like some sort of Excel competition.
Oh, that's
And I'm
real.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it is.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, and I think I'm not as, I won't say that I'm actually as fast or anything, but I am pretty good at creating some pretty baller things.
Yeah.
And Bob is too. And so we both have this like data abilities, and then I am like way idea heavy.
Yeah.
And Bob is just way systems heavy. And so if we can bring these things together and like he can wrangle in all my ideas
Yep.
into actual things that we can implement, and we can use the systems to scale them.
Which is exactly where Dan was getting at with his
Yeah.
question
Yeah.
about the converging and then apart. Cause
Yeah, exactly. Because there's just so many things over the years where he has pointed out something that I'm doing that's like, oh, that's like dumb. You should
But
do
you
it
need
this way. Yeah, you need somebody.
that.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've always done is I know my limitations. You know, I'm an idea guy like you are, but I try to surround myself with people who know how to implement or how to make those
Yeah.
ideas. Happen.
We read there's a book we read somewhere, and by read I mean we read like the first 3 chapters about like running a small business and how like to not let it run your life. And one of the things we read, and we were like, oh, we have so much work to do, was about how every small business has a visionary and an integrator. You know, same things.
Right.
And it was like sometimes it's one person that's both, sometimes it's 2 people, sometimes it's multiple people, but you have to have both. And one of the things that happened that it took us a long time to realize was as both companies grew, and because they both learned from each other and taught each other things, and then we were able to scale both sides. As it grew, and Bob sort of went Plaid Room and I went Coal Mine, what we didn't realize was that Coal Mine was losing an integrator and Plaid Room was losing a visionary. And so by like 2020,
you had both.
we had both, and then we kind of we kind of got pulled.
Yeah.
And so by like 2021, we were really feeling some growing pains. We kind of
How many times did you guys wrestle?
we didn't we never. I mean, we get along super well.
Yeah,
The only
I'm kidding because I've seen you guys.
yeah. But we did realize like something needs to change.
Yeah,
like we realized like we're just dying. What's
Yeah,
happening?
yeah.
And we realized that like we need to figure out a way to apply some of these systems to coal mine and apply some of these ideas to the plaid room side, because my staff is just like we just have so many things that Terry wants to do, and what how do we do them at all?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And then downstairs they're like just like cranking orders out like
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
a machine.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, how do we do that too? So I think making that realization was pretty clutch. So yeah, because they converged and it was good for a while, and then they like grew, and then it was bad, and now we're like back to a pretty healthy balance.
So did you bring other people in to help you?
For sure, that was the
Yeah.
thing. That was also the long term answer, that we were just
Yeah.
afraid to. We were just like, we don't have any money. We can't hire people.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't afford any employees.
Scaling thing that's tough to predict, and
Yeah, and I've realized that there's never a time when it feels like. What's that?
It's fine. It's still going.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And I've realized that there's never a time that feels like, oh, we can afford to hire somebody.
Oh yeah.
You never feel like you can afford
It's
to hire.
it's just
somebody.
like buying a house, having a baby. If you wait till
It's
you're-
perfect.
So-
yeah, it's
Yeah.
never
You're
gonna happen.
180 years old.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh,
exactly.
I should have done that.
Yeah.
dead.
So I think we've realized that now, because I hired Autumn in October of 2020, and she was the first coal mine employee, and now she's a label manager at coal mine. And
She started in like graphic design, and
yeah, she's a
doing, like,
fashion. She has a fashion degree from Kent, and I just hired her and was like, I'm just going to try to teach you everything that I know. Which is not much, but I will try to teach you what I know, or at least what I do.
You're very humble.
And she's done it really good. She's amazing. And every hire we've made over the years, on both sides of the company, like they are the people that have allowed us to continue to grow, and sharpened us, and and just saved us really, because we would have just we'd still be there wrapping boxes and.
Well, and go back to the early days when I'd come into the shop like 2-3 times a month and just hang out for an hour or two. It was you and Bob.
Yeah, we were doing all the computer work behind the counter.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Well, I remember when you brought me in and I brought coffee samples.
Dude, that was
For
so
you.
fun. I'll
It
never
was.
forget that cupping.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I was like-
right on the counter.
I was like, these guys want to cup with us? This sounds dirty. But it was fun. We were just like such white trash. We were like, what are you going to do? Break the crust? Oh, yeah. Break the crust, dude. Let's see what that smells like. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was so fun.
It was a good time. And that's when I met you guys. And then I remember Owen and I coming down and serving coffee at record store days. And,
Man.
yeah.
Early days.
Lord, early days.
those
Yeah.
were-
That was fun. That was wild.
Yeah.
So many things. Were
You have any
saying?
questions? Oh, no.
right.
Sprinkle just hanging on. Nice. So, do you think, and I guess this is a stupid question, but with your relationships with labels on the record store side, did that help you? Did that help Coal Mine then?
Immensely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could look at labels that you liked and respected, and you see what they did, and you go, "That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We should
Yeah.
do that."
Nice.
Yeah.
Or you look at labels that consistently floundered, and you go, "We should never."
We'll step away from that.
Yeah, or just, and also not only interfacing with labels and distributors, but also interfacing with customers and seeing like what motivates them. Like, why are you buying this record? How did you hear about this record? So it informs not only like label efforts, but also effectiveness. And you're like, what is this label or artist doing that's making people come in and ask about this? Like, is it social media campaign? Is it a radio campaign? Like, what's driving people to make this sort of decision? And the record store is just like the ultimate, way to excel, in my experience, to accelerate your not. Because how else do you learn how to run a stupid record label. Like, there's no record label school, and if there was, it'd be irrelevant in 9 months. As soon as the textbook was printed, they'd be like, well, that's out of date.
Yeah.
So we got to change this. And that's been my, I don't know. I feel like it's the same way in education in general. Like, by the time, especially now, like by the time you get to printing a textbook and making a curriculum, it's outdated. And I feel like the entertainment world is even more sort of like that, especially now when it's so digital driven.
So how do you feel that you carved out your niche? Sorry. Niche.
Niches.
Niches get stitches.
Niches
is
get
what
stitches.
I've heard.
Yes,
But,
that's true. I don't. I think for the most part, like we've always done a good job at curating, a particular thing, like a certain sound, and that was so. In the early days, that was it. It was like, oh yeah, Coal Mine sounds like this, and it was very inspired by the music, just the music that I liked and wanted to make and wanted to be involved with. Very akin to what Daptone and Truth and Soul were doing at the time. Probably a little more broad, but. Yeah, I think that sort of like early days reliability of like and trust in the brand was huge. And then once we had that trust, in when customers, as soon as we were able to also get that trust at retail with record stores, I mean, that's what, then you can kind of do whatever, not do whatever, but then you can kind of like, all right, now I'm going to push things out. I'm going to try.
You got a little bit of freedom and margin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, at the beginning, were you seeking out the bands, and now, now are they coming to you, or is that
early days? The first few projects were just like me and like my friends, and just going under some different names.
Oh, cool.
And then a band from Brooklyn, E Could Be Shakedown, in 2009, hit me up. And they hit me up because I think their trombone player, Nadav, had seen like our MySpace page or something. And
MySpace.
I only
MySpace has not come up a ton.
And it hasn't come back.
And it has not come back either. I think it's still there, technically.
Yeah, it's still there.
Doesn't
I think it's just
Justin
like a
Timberlake
music
own it or
website.
something?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I thought
It
Justin
did at one
Timberlake
point, I think.
bought it.
I have no clue what's up with it now.
Yeah.
Well, so let's see, when I was in Oxford, I ran a radio show, and I hit up Dunham Records for some MP3s, who had just put out the first Charles Bradley 45.
Oh, wow.
And I talked with Tommy Brennick, who was running that label, who was in the Dap Kings and Budos Band and Menahan Street Band, and I was like, hey, could I get some like wave files for my radio show? And we, built a little relationship. And then he tracked that first Ecobee LP, and it wasn't going to come out on Daptone or Dunham, and he was about to hit the road with Sharon. And so he's like, you should hit up Terry about maybe putting this is a few years after the radio show. He's like, you should hit up Terry. He started a label. And that was that. And so that was like the first outside band.
2009, you said?
Yeah, ish. And then it sort of snowballed from there. We put out like once we broke into like the Brooklyn scene and then put out some California stuff, then it was sort of like, oh, there's this label kind of making moves. And we were the only, Truth and Soul and Daptone were very insular. So like they were only putting out stuff that they were producing 100%. And I think Coal Mine grew at a quicker clip because it was like, oh yeah, here's stuff I'm making, and then also here's these other bands that I just really like, and we're putting this out too. And so it just grew fast.
Yeah.
And early days was just all 45s. And then eventually it was like, yeah, bands coming to me and being like, hey, do you like this? Do you like this? We put this out. And now we have such a large roster at this point that, I mean, I feel bad when people approach me with a new thing that I actually like. Because I'm like, I don't know when I can get you on the calendar. Gotcha. Like, it's not, especially if it's a developing thing. Like, I had a good conversation with a manager yesterday, and we were talking about this exact thing. And she was saying how their only pain point with working with us is like having to wait to release stuff. Because like right now, if I finish an LP right now, today, and I'm like, I want to get it on the calendar, it's going to be probably 2028.
Really?
Like it's going to be approaching 2028 or maybe late 2027. And that is because I don't want to put out too many things and like overwork my staff.
Right.
And I want to be able to do all the stuff. I want to be able to do it right. Mm-hmm. And 90% of what we're putting out is a band's first record, or is a developing band, or is a studio band. It's not this thing that has its own momentum. So in a lot of ways, with a few exceptions, obviously, but like, so for the most part, we are the ones carrying the record along, and we can only do that 8 to 10 times a year. We can't scale that like buy-in to go, we're going to put out 20 LPs a year and expect that our core fan base will be able to keep up and afford and to be able to support all these things. It's like it's this very special thing that we have, but it's like a whisper. Like you can't damage it. You have to take care of it. But once a band has their own momentum, I think it does. Then it gets easier to be a little more flexible. It's like, oh yeah, we can release more frequently because there's a team in place, and like it's not all on us, and it already has momentum. But most of what we are doing is still early developmental, first LPs, second LPs, and so we're trying to like break the band, and so we have to be mindful of how much we put out. So to answer the question, they're like, yeah, it's bad. It feels bad when somebody's, brings me something that I like, and I'm like, it's cool, but like you're no one, and it's going to be work, and so I can't. If you're at zero, I can't. Yeah. I gotta wait. Like I can't.
Well, the big difference probably between what you're doing now and big labels, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe even 90s with A&R people and folks who are out there to sort of pump it. You're kind of your own thing. It's not like you have. I mean, I'm sure you have people who are doing some of that stuff, but. Yeah, but I mean, you're doing it to an extent, but like you're saying, it is just you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a pretty robust team.
Yeah,
I will say, but it still has to be, it's like if I came to KEXP, the radio station out west, and was like, if I came to them once a week with a new project,
right.
Eventually it's like, fatigue. Okay, Terry. Like,
right.
We get it. But if I come to them 8 times a year with 8 special things that I'm like, guys, this is really dope. I think you should get behind it. Of course. Sure. But it's the same thing. It's like, you get fatigued. And it's like, hey,
fatigue,
Terry.
saturating.
Yeah, not everything can be special, bro.
Right.
Right. And I think recognizing that is also hard for artists, Sure. It's just tough. It's just being like, hey, man, I know. Yeah, it's telling people that their stuff is not
that special.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah.
But like
my dad told me that a long time ago.
I mean, not every baby's cute.
That's true.
They're all precious.
Do we need to have a session with you right now?
No, I'm good.
So
I've come to
I'm just
terms.
trying to think back at my own buying habits from being around. Was Duran the first like big one for you guys?
Sure. Yeah, Duran was the first big one. Well, I'll go a little bit before that. There were a couple other like kind of
Surefire
things that moved us up. So like the first Monophonics 45 in 2010, that was a big deal.
Yeah,
that was like one of our first vocal things. It was our first time working with Kelly. So like that definitely moved the needle out west in a big way.
Kelly is Kelly Finnegan.
Yes, Kelly Finnegan. And who's an Ohio resident now.
He is?
Yeah, he lives over in Kenwood.
Oh, man.
What?
Yeah.
We should talk after this.
Yeah. Dude, he would be a great one to talk to.
Yeah.
Man's got stories.
We even
his
have
family
a relationship with Twisted River. And
his family
movies.
history. I mean, his dad was a first call organist. He's on so many legendary records.
My gosh.
He's on Axis Bold as Love, CSN, Ed James records. I mean, his dad is a monster. But Kelly would be a great interview.
Yeah.
Meet Me in the City, sponsored by Twisted River Coffee Roaster. Twisted River offers an unpretentious approach to specialty coffee. Visit twistedrivercoffee.com and use promo code INTHECITY at checkout to receive a one-time discount of 10% off your entire order.
So that 45 from 2010, 2011. This
What
first
song was that?
Like Yesterday was the song. Comenzamos by Jungle Fire was a big one because it kind of broke us in like the breakbeat.
Yeah.
Really broke us in the DJ scene. Like
Yeah.
tons of DJs were buying doubles and quadruples of that 45 because there was a massive breakbeat on there, and they were like, you know, seeing Cut Chemist and all these like famous DJs that I looked up to, like buying 45s. I was like, this is crazy. Like,
And you had some of those famous DJs in the house recently.
oh yeah, that was wild. My
Yeah.
God, that's
We'll come back to that later, but
Yeah.
yeah, keep going with the big.
so that, you know, those first few 45s, the first Surefire LP, which was the first LP that we released when the store had been open. So that was pretty monumental in that capacity, and like it's a beautiful record. I bet we sold more copies of that in Loveland, Ohio than any other city in the entire world.
Wow.
I think we sold like 200 plus copies of that first Surefire record. Because all summer when that came out, we were just like, you like this? Here you go. We were selling for like $10. So
That's
like,
the
Oh
one with
my
like
gosh.
like the
bird on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about a record where the cover matches exactly.
It does.
When you put the record on, you're like,
Yeah,
dang,
You have
how
to
did they
play
do that?
for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm transported to. It's like I was telling people with that record. It was like, do you like Minahan Street Band?
Yep.
Are you sometimes in a better mood though?
Yeah, their stuff is a little
It's
darker.
sunny.
Yeah,
It's sunny. It's like San Diego. They're in-
Surefire is, yeah.
And man, that we just sold the piss out of that record.
Yeah, and those didn't really have any weird variants or anything. Weren't they just standard black?
Yeah, just normal,
Yeah.
normal black. I remember the first time somebody asked me to do like a colored pressing. I was like, nobody wants that. And now I'm like, God, I'm an idiot.
And going back to that first Duran record,
Dude,
hello.
So, but yeah, then Duran, that was like the first time where a project took on a life of its own, and the project was carrying it way beyond whatever we were doing.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we felt like we were standing on the train tracks and the train was about to run us over.
Yeah.
Because we
Really?
just didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, in our minds, we had sold several thousand of the record, and we were like, what else could anyone do? Like, in our minds, we're like, what do you mean there's more to do? You know, our small brains were like, we've just done so well.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, it's just
Well, yeah, if you've never sold 2,000 records and all of a sudden you sold 2,000 records of one.
really fast. Yeah, you're like, oh, we're killing. We're going to repress. Yes, great. But, and, you know, ultimately that release, you know, led to obviously a deeper relationship with all those guys and eventually Steve Okonski. But also it led to a relationship with Dead Oceans and Secretly Canadian Distribution,
yeah.
who is our distributor now.
Oh, Secret
And
Canadian.
so, yeah,
That's
so like,
awesome.
so, you know, this is 2017. You know, essentially management for Durand at the time was like, guys, you guys got to you got to do something. You got to either partner up with somebody bigger or you got to release the license. Or
They're feeling that it's
yeah, I mean, it's me and Bob.
It's churning.
Yeah, it's me and Bob. Things are going to go up, and eventually we're going to run out. Well, we don't have enough money or experience or human resources to properly serve this record.
Yeah,
And while Bob and I probably didn't see it that way at the time,
yeah,
that is the reality. We weren't maybe there yet, but we were going to get run over by the train.
Yeah.
And it was like, so we could either get on a bigger train or get off the tracks entirely. And so we started talking to labels about partnerships and ways to sort of extend our relationship with the band. And everybody sort of, like, all the chats sucked with majors and stuff. They were terrible. But then we talked
like they just were they dismissive? Were they just like, oh, we don't want to deal with you. You're small potatoes.
Yeah, they just wanted us out of the picture. And then it was,
You're like, dude, we did the work.
and also it's like there is we didn't recognize the value that we brought, but there was definitely value that we brought to it. And then we talked to Phil and Chris Swanson from Dead Oceans and Secretly, and they were like, oh no, we want you guys involved. Actually, we really want you involved. Like we want you guys to keep it like the homegrown. You will keep the homegrown.
So good.
We have the money, the time, the resources, the experience. We'll do the stuff.
Yeah.
You have the brand. we don't really want the narrative to change. We just want to, we can invest in this and like fuel the fire. And
They're already a couple
amazing.
steps. Yeah, then they're a couple steps ahead of where you are. So
they've already done
Yeah.
huge records.
Yeah.
At this point,
Yeah.
massive records.
Yeah.
And they're in Bloomington, so there's like some Midwest kinship there.
Yep.
Are they
Bloomington
still
and,
there?
and
Okay, 'cause we were
Bloomington
talking
and
about
Loveland are like kind of cousins in the sort
And
of
that
vibe.
you have a bluish, purplish. Well,
Yeah.
Bloomington's very blue, but
Yeah.
in a very red
Yeah.
area. Yeah,
But it also has a kind of vibe to it that it's almost Yellow Springs, kind of hippie, but
Bloomington's
not
cute,
quite.
man. Bloomington's
Bloomington,
cute.
I love Bloomington.
And yeah, I mean, won the national. That's the greatest sports turnaround in
Oh gosh,
All
The
Yeah.
story is insane.
all of history. If
Just
that's
nuts.
I texted Chris Swanson, who's one of the owners of Secretly and a grad of IU, and I texted everybody that works there that I knew went there. I was like, this has to be amazing. Like, congrats. Like, I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I'm sad, but like, this is really great.
Yeah.
And I was like,
both my daughters are Ohio State. My wife graduated from IU, and so it's like,
that it has
Pretty
to be.
good.
It's if that's not if Hoosiers 2
yeah.
isn't made with
It's
Nick,
true.
if Nick Offerman is not playing.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
If Nick Offerman is not playing
Put that into-
Segnetti, if he's not, I texted Swanson. I was like, bro, I know you guys got ins with A24. Like, pitch this idea and buy me, throw me $200. This idea. I was like, because this could be so well executed. Like, give it 10 years, and then when it's far enough away, like, this is unprecedented in sports. Like,
Yeah.
to be the laughing stock of the Big Ten for decades.
I mean, pretty much college sports in general, they were just
Yeah.
way
And then to
down.
just run the table.
Yep.
And then the drama
Oh.
at the end,
Yeah.
the drama with Fernando Mendoza going back to Miami to win. He's from Miami to win the national
Hobbling into
championship
the
in
end zone. Yeah, the whole thing.
Just,
Yeah.
His dad played with the Miami coach in
Yes.
high school.
Yeah.
It's just
It's a story.
his mom's in a. It's just.
Yeah.
I think you should do a movie.
It's perfect. It's perfect. He won. That play where he like stretched out and just got walloped. I watched it probably 40 times. I was like, this is maybe the greatest college football play I've ever seen.
Amazing.
I'm obsessed with
Amazing.
college football though. I'm just like,
It's a weird time to be obsessed with college football. I don't know what's going to happen
so
with it.
weird,
Oh.
man. It's so strange. I don't know. Part of it does feel like it's leveled the playing field because now everybody can pay.
Sort of.
But man,
But
I
like
don't
the SEC,
know.
it's not just the SEC that can pay players.
Right, obviously, because the Big Ten's won 3 years in a row. But Indiana didn't play by that playbook the
I
same
know.
way that the big guys do.
Which makes you just
crazy.
think Kurt Signetti is an absolute
Dog.
genius.
He's a
Yeah,
dog.
he's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
question about
where were we?
like back in
Scaling.
2017, you're scaling. So, are you signing the bands to a contract,
Yes,
or
for sure.
you are?
Yeah. So they're all like license agreements. So we signed Duran to a 1 LP, I think 3-year license agreement or something.
Okay.
So we're like a year and a half into this agreement. So it's basically like, hey, we can either ride this out for a year and a half and probably sell it short because we don't know how to continue to grow it and then be cut off after that. Or we
Right.
can form a partnership with somebody and sort of extend our involvement. And so that's what we did.
Okay.
And it was amazing because not only did we eventually form a distribution partnership with Secretly, but we also got to sit like sidecar to observe what an actual record label does.
It's like a
Right.
theme for you guys.
Yeah.
You're looking out ahead. You're seeing what people are doing, what they've done, what's gone well, what's not gone well, and you pattern
Yeah,
some of
100%.
what you do.
Because
Yeah.
Dead Oceans is a record label that just record labels well. Like Coal Mine back then, especially, was just a label that people were like, "Oh yeah, I like the stuff they put out. I trust them." People weren't like, "Wow, Terry is really good at record label strategy." Like it was just like, "I trust the brand. I trust the sound."
Yeah.
And so we were able to learn from a label that's just good at record labeling, at doing that type of work. And it was incredible. And it still is. It's still one of the best decisions we've ever made as far as
I was going
partnerships.
to ask if with those partnerships, what has that done for you, band wise, release wise? What is that?
I mean, as soon as we got, Durand, obviously, then a bunch of people started hitting us up and they were like, "Oh, you want to do this? You want to do this?" And so it kind of was like a proof of concept that we could do things. but it also revealed shortcomings because it was like, oh, we can do things, but only to a point, and then you really kind of like, and so that was a big motivation to be like, all right, how do we get to the point where we don't have to do this, we don't lose acts, and
You've had a few who scaled pretty quick.
yeah, which is a compliment to our A&R ears, maybe, but it's an obvious shining light on you guys you don't have this figured out there.
Yeah.
So it did a lot. I mean, having Secretly as a distribution partner changed our digital game. That was the big thing we went in. We wanted to learn how to do digital better in 2018, and they've absolutely done that. They took the physical distribution off of our shoulders so that we could just be sort of cheerleaders and marketers and just be like calling stores and making the relationships and then going, cool, order it from Secretly. So that we're not actually the ones having to handle the fulfillment on that side of things, because there's no way we could do that. It expanded our international business. It's just being in a family of labels just makes life so much easier,
amazing.
when you're in a good company like that. And I mean, we definitely held out for a long time, for about a year signing that deal, because they wanted to not allow us to do direct sales. This is a good story, actually. So
What do you mean by that?
we started the conversation about moving distro shortly after Dead Ocean signed the Duran deal. They were like, well, you should talk to us about distro. And we were like, we're open to it. Like, we'd love to learn how to do digital better, because at that time we were with The Orchard for digital distribution, who's an arm of Sony, and we were with Fat Beats for physical distribution. But we were doing tons direct. Like, we were shipping tons of orders to shops directly because it was fun building those relationships with stores, a better margin, all that sort of stuff.
It's almost like a guerrilla marketing kind of thing where you're doing it one shop, one person, the whole thing.
100%.
Yeah.
And we started talking to them about it, and they were like, well, you're going to have to give up your direct sales. We will take over all your physical. And we were like, nah. Like you, in our, again, silly minds, we were like...
Not silly. You just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. We were like, there's no way you could do physical as personal as we were doing.
Sure.
And we were worried they were going to lose relationships or damage the relationships we had built. And so we held out for like a year, and at some point, Chris Swanson and Chris Wells came to Loveland to just like kind of, I don't know, visit, kind of groom, do a little bit of zhuzhing up and trying to get us on board. And they
Kind of
came
giving
in
you that little nudge.
and they came, I can't forget what day they came into the week, but they came in, and Bob is like behind the counter, like frazzled.
This is the old location.
Old location. Bob's like behind the counter, frazzled out of his mind. Probably got 38 tabs open on Chrome, trying to ring people out. He has
And listening to him type is like, fastest typer I've ever witnessed.
He's like, got a woman that just brings in, of course, a barrel full of records and no sort of normal container that wants to sell. I'm in the back, like, doing artwork. I have a contract up. I have an open wholesale order that I'm trying to like wrap up, and I'm on the phone with the band. And they like walked in, and they were just kind of like, "What's up, boys? Like, looks like you guys could use some help or something." And it was like
a perfect day.
and it was just like, "Oh, yeah, you're probably right." So we like went back and forth on it for seriously a year, and then we tried to buy the building, across the street, and we're pretty close to like finalizing the distro deal. Because we've seen the other side of it, we like, oh yeah, okay, we can still talk to shops. We can still be we can still be the ones maintaining the relationships.
And in fact, just I'm assuming, having known you now for a while, like people would want to like get input from you or talk to you or chop it up just about anything.
Yes,
like they just would.
Yeah, and it's just then I have bandwidth to do that. Yeah. I can build the relationships and then go, hey, go order it from Secretly's B2B. Have a good one.
Yep.
So we were very close to finishing that deal. That building comes up for sale across the street. We're like, we should buy this. Like, we need to make this move because we were feeling the squeeze at our old location. It was tight in there. And we're like, this is like the long-term answer for us. So we do jump through all the SBA loan, small business hoops, all this stuff. Do all these crazy projections, which are just
You have to get on blood pressure medicine around that time of your life.
pie in the sky, just like, yeah, sure. So we get the loan approved, which it's like, oh, the loan's approved. Like, wow, we can buy this building, which now means we have to put a down payment down. And I was like, oh, I guess I didn't think about like a $90,000 down payment. And so it was a Tuesday, I think, when the loan got approved, and they were going to withdraw this amount that we didn't have in our account on a Friday.
Oh,
and so I was like, I called Chris Swanson, and I was like, hey, man, I think we're ready to sign that deal.
Can we get an advance for $1,000 right now?
Fronted money.
I was, we didn't. There was no part of our conversation that was about an advance. Like,
Oh, there wasn't.
advance was no. We were like, no, we don't want to take loans. Like, we don't like that. And I called him and I was like, hey, man, I really hate to change my tune, but like, could you like float us like $100K by like tomorrow
Wow. Jeezy Pete.
or like Thursday at the latest? And
I have not made that request to anybody, I don't think.
yeah,
I don't know anybody that has that, but
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
no doubt.
And like without batting an eye, he was like, oh yeah, sure, no problem, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so like,
How far after from when they came to the shop to see you guys
I don't
spiraling
remember. I don't
to that
remember.
moment?
But they sent multiple people. Like, it wasn't just them. They
Oh.
came at some point, and then I think Shelly and Shelly, Abby, and the whole like physical sales team, who we really loved and adored, also came to like woo us, and we loved them, and they're wonderful. But we were just so like not about giving up direct sale. We were our heels were so dug in.
It's your baby. You built it.
Yeah, but I'll never forget that. It all happened within a calendar week of like loans approved, and then being like, hey, you know what? I know we've been dragging our feet, but actually we're totally on board with all the rest stuff. and yeah, bless them for, floating the bread. And then, the bank was like, you guys have the money, right? And we were like, yeah, totally.
yeah.
I've got $106,000 in the bank. What do you mean?
How much do you need?
100? Okay. So that was wild. That was one of the, I think about all the weird things that it's taken to like get this business to where it is. And I think if I knew all these things and I had to go do it again, I'd be like, I'll just keep teaching. It's fine. Like, that's way.
This 42,000 a year is all right.
Yeah, you know what? This is way easier because it's just like if you don't know how insane it is, then
Yeah.
you're just like, okay.
Goes back to what Dan was saying about kids and house, and
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
don't. I remember someone once saying about kids, you never end up with the ones that you expect, and they're always going to be something different than which is a good thing, because I think so often we set up in our minds, like you guys were at that moment with distribution, like, well, we only want it if it's going to go this certain way, not knowing what, well, actually another way might be better. A
Yeah.
kid to turn out different than what I hoped or expected
Yeah.
is better than, the alternative.
Yeah,
So,
and it takes a few times for you to realize that, like, okay, cool. Yeah, this. I guess I don't know everything.
yeah. It's that's some adult
That was a
moment
That was
right there.
That was a wild moment. And then
And that was when was that 2019?
2018.
2018.
And then the first time they all came over after we had bought the building and opened the shop and everything, like the whole crew came over, and we went to Cindy's with Chris and the whole crew, and I'll never forget. So Chris Swanson also
Did you
does.
buy over their dinner that night?
Hell no.
They got all the money.
They're
They
pulling
can
that,
expense
they're
all
pulling that secretly group card out. I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah. Ribeye, bone-in ribeye, please. Thank you. Right here.
But we went to Cindy's, and so Chris is a music supervisor on a lot of TV shows. He like does supervision for a bunch of Hulu and Netflix shows and independent movies, and
That's like my dream
oh,
job.
yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I love it. And so he's over there at the Touch Tunes, and he's put in some money, and he's over there like somebody went up to try to like put some stuff on his money, like he had paid for, like put some tunes, and she's drunk, and she's like, I want to hear Jimi Hendrix, and he's like, okay, like that's fine, and he's like, but like what, like I'm watching him like music supervise this like drunk
Oh,
woman
gee.
about like which Hendrix they're gonna play, and I'm like videoing, and I'm like, CEO or executive at Secretly, just here negotiating with the white trash of Ohio. It's just incredible. And then Chris I gave him the key to get in the front door because we were all kind of blitzed, and he put the key in the building that they had just paid the advance for, essentially, put the down payment on, and he just ripped the
whole lock
and
mechanism
that's
out.
why there's still a hole in the front door because of that. So
That's
We're heading over there after.
yeah,
we're heading over that way
big,
after.
big hole in there, and it's because of Chris Swanson.
That's crazy.
Amazing.
That's
But that was a wild time, and without them, truly, without them, there's no way we could have afforded the building, and without the building,
Scaling's not happening.
It's not happening at all.
So is everything distribution wise? Does everything run through them then? Every
Yeah.
release that you have, 45 and LP?
Everything, digital,
Yeah.
physical, everything goes through them. And this is when we signed this deal. It was like the dawn of streaming. Like streaming wasn't really what it is now. at all.
Right.
But we were already starting to feel that pressure a bit.
Which was not that long ago.
2018,
It's crazy.
and we just didn't know. I didn't have any answers for
Yeah,
everybody on
right.
why things were working or not working. And that was my thing. It's like, I don't need you guys to make us the best at this. I need you to teach me how to help people be better,
Yeah.
and also to teach me as much as you can about why this works, when it works, so that I can have conversations with artists and be like, yeah, I know your streaming numbers suck, but it's not because it's not the existential reasons you think they are. It's here's a bunch of really boring reasons why it's hard.
Yeah.
And nobody really wants to hear it. It's way more fun to have like delusionary conspiracy theory reasons why your music's not performing well on a streaming service. But the reality is usually a lot more boring. It's just like everything.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories are way fun.
Yeah.
But the reality is like,
There's like
no, they just like broke in and they just broke into that hotel and took some papers. Oh, okay. That's pretty boring, but
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
Well, and the streaming thing has changed so much in the 8 years as far as algorithms and things like that, and getting your stuff out in front is tough, which is going back to what you were saying about curating a crowd or a loyal following is the way of the future.
And it does
almost everything.
And the wildest thing that's happening for us in that space, in the streaming space, in the last 8 years, is I remember how much our first statements from Secretly were, like pretty close to $1, like how much they were, like how much. And in the early days, heavy, like physical, is wiping the floor with digital revenue. Like 10-1.
Yeah.
Because we're a physical, heavy label.
That's what you built it on.
Still are.
Yeah.
But the wildest thing is seeing the physical basically maintain, grow for those first few years, but like at the point where we are with how much physical we move, it's really hard to scale. If you're going from it's hard to go from doing 50,000 a month in distribution physical to 100,000. Like that's twice as many physical units. That's not that's
Right.
That's so hard to go from selling 10,000 to 20,000 units or something is like, that's a lot. That takes a shitload of work.
It's double.
Whereas digital, things can scale, and I'll never forget the month where the digital caught up to physical, and now it's like no way physical will ever catch digital now.
Really?
No way. Outside of the streaming just absolutely collapsing,
yeah.
There's just no way, because you're talking about, as soon as you start talking about physical sales, you go, okay, who buys physical media?
Yep.
All right, the entire population down to who buys physical media. Whereas streaming is like, okay, the entire population, who streams? It's just such a larger pool. It's global.
And within that group of people who stream are also the people who are buying physical as well.
Right, exactly.
So you're not losing them.
No, you're not losing them, and it's been wild to see that. Especially post pandemic, just like absolutely scale.
Was that the time when you saw it sort of catch up? Was pandemic time?
A little bit. And we've done a lot of things over the years to try to scale our digital, but it was wild post-pandemic and into 21, 22.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, It's crazy how much
Yeah.
revenue that generates for us and our artists.
I'm glad to hear that because
Yeah.
a lot of stuff you hear about digital and streaming is that the artist labels are getting the short end of the stick. Someone's making money, but usually not artist level.
Yeah, and I don't know how to like. I'm not saying that's not true on a per user basis or a per stream basis, but it is the reality of how it plays out for an independent label of our size, at least, with about 7 employees, is like if you took the streaming revenue away, I have about 5 less employees.
Wow.
Ish.
Crazy.
Like that's the
Wow.
reality. Not that anybody cares about my employees, but like that's how that's what the reality
You do.
is.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
Yeah.
The label
And-
does. You're
And also, the streaming revenue it's just one more revenue source, so that
Yeah.
we're investing in a project. We can go, okay, we can spend this much on
Yeah.
marketing because they generated $10,000 in streaming in the last album cycle. Cool. We know we have that probably coming in. Sure, we can afford this extra thing, or we can afford this marketing spend that maybe we didn't think we could first time around or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird time, and I know it's a lot. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
People hate. I mean, I get it. I don't want to see ICE ads, or I don't want to support a guy that's making AI military weapons. It's like gross.
fill in the blank.
But
There's
like,
many
right,
different. Yeah.
But I mean, first of all, it's not like any of these tech companies are any of our friends. Actually, right? So none of them. Who's the good guy? I don't know.
It is a bit nebulous.
But the reality of how it plays out for a small independent label and a lot of independent labels is like the digital revenue is keeping the lights on.
That's.
for the
I mean, I
most
think
part.
it's good to hear
Yeah.
someone give an alternative to what. I think it's pretty common to hear from people like, oh, streaming stuff is the artists are kind of getting the short end of the stick, and maybe they still are compared to
Sure.
physical revenue and that kind of thing. But what's the alternative in 2026 if you want to get your music out there?
Yeah, and I think we made that video a couple years ago or something about like on a individual basis, still buying a record or buying a CD or buying a 45 is still like on a to be able to buy a record at a record store and know that $3 or $4 of that money is going to go to the artist
Directly, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
powerful. And obviously to do that, to recreate that type of revenue on the streaming level as an individual,
Right.
is
Yeah,
you get a streaming artist for 4 days or something
Yeah.
to make that exact dollar amount, which is, my point in making that video wasn't to diss on streaming. It was more to be like, here's the power you have as an individual consumer to affect independent companies, labels, artists, distribution companies, record companies, pressing plants. Yeah, you don't have that power at streaming, but like the idea of taking that revenue away is like,
Oh yeah.
and you hear people say like, well, I made 12 cents on my record last year. And I would say to them, if they're saying that and they're posting they made 12 cents or $12 or whatever, I think what gets lost in that conversation is we are at a time when anybody, my daughter could put out a song via TuneCore and be on the same platform as Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And 30 years ago, there were barriers for that. You had to have a record deal. You had to have money. You had to have a radio plugger, right? There's all these filters, and those filters are still there. They're just we don't see them because how it looks on the outside is I'm on the same platform as Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It's like you are.
Pretty cool.
You're right.
Yeah.
You are on the same platform as Taylor Swift, but those barriers that held people back 30 years ago are still there. Do you have a record company? Do you have a marketing plan? Do you have a budget? Do you have proper distribution? So the filters are still there. So even though there's 65,000 songs that come out a day, a few hundred are the ones that actually are going to get looked at or matter in the big scheme of things. So it's like, when people say that, it's like, yeah, but like not all babies are cute. Like you put out this song, and I'm sorry you only made a few bucks off of it, but like if you don't have a team, if there's nobody else that's buying into this besides you don't have a social following, whatever, it's like you can't just
It's still tough sledding regardless.
Yeah, the artist entitlement wanes on me a bit. I'm like, and
Yeah.
like, what did you expect? Like, you know, yeah, it's just
And
those, you know,
it's weird because it's like we've talked about this back in the day. You know, we've been musicians a long time. You had to work your butt off playing shows, having copies to get out there, right? I mean, you really made it by playing shows, right, to get your name
Building
out.
your
Now
own,
that's gone. People are posting, you know, music on Spotify or wherever, and it's just like, that's it. They don't even play live, you know? And there's something to that, playing live and getting out for people to get turned on to you. I've seen opening bands, like I've never heard of them, and they're cool. I go out and try to find their stuff, you know?
yeah.
But that's so removed from that now, I think. Just that personal, like you're talking about vinyl and having something in your hand, that's removed big time.
Yeah, and I think there's like an expectation of, I mean, there is like an entitlement or an expectation, like, I made this art, I deserve to make money off it. And it's like,
Yeah.
sure, but like, not everybody who makes a record deserves to be able to live off of their art all the time. Like, that's not realistic. There's not enough.
And
There's not enough
that-
money to go around to support that.
I mean, that goes back. I mean, even Van Gogh supposedly didn't, you know, sell
Yeah, right.
a piece, you know.
Till he dies.
So, you know, and that's, you're right. Not every artist is meant
Yeah, and
to be seen.
my approach has, my attitude and approach has always been, I'm gonna, you know, even the early days labels, like, I want to just make sure this is sustainable. Like, I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to make a living. It was just like, as long as I can just keep doing this and maintain it, cool. That's it's good. And if there is a point where I can jump over and do it, awesome. But like, I don't know, the reality of like just being like, I quit, I'm going to be a musician full time, feels just like, well, that's a
Oh
that's a
gosh,
rough
I can't
go.
imagine.
Yeah, it's weird, and I think one of the things that we have that really does and has like stimulated and maintained the digital momentum is the physical stuff, because like, physical informs the algorithm. Even if every time we drop a single, only 500 people go stream it, that's 500 people that went and actively streamed it, and that tells the algorithm, hey, somebody cares
Yeah,
about this.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, like, at this point, we feel like we have like at least a baseline level of listenership that does inform the algorithm. And at the end of the day, it's reflective. So like, if a bunch of people hear it and then they like it and then they save it and then they listen to it again, that tells the algorithm, oh yeah, people like this, we should serve this to more people. And then, oh, these people liked it, we should serve to even more people. Like, it's easy to hate on the algorithm, and I'm fatigued by it as well. But at the end of the day, it's just reflecting listenership.
Sure.
It's just reflecting what humans like things that people like rise to the top, and things that people don't go to the bottom. So
What year do you think? Because you've talked about the idea of you can't put out maybe as many projects as you would like to because of time limitations. What year was it that you put out the most?
I think it was either 22 or 23.
How many?
Too many.
Yeah.
Like 13 or 14 or something.
Full
One a
length?
month almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was bad. And
How
I
many,
think,
how many 45s that year?
I don't know, just gobs of 45s, probably 15.
Yeah.
But like, that was when Autumn, like, she had like a chat with me and was just like, we have to start saying no to people. Yeah. We have to, and maybe not say no, but say, you're gonna have to wait if you want us to do it. And, you know, the people pleasing part of me really struggles with that a bit. But I've also seen what it feels like, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like, last year we only put out 7 LPs, and it was just awesome. It just felt amazing. It was like, felt like we did our best with each one. I felt like we really did well with all of them, and there was never a time where we were like dying as a team and just like stressed.
One of the most underrated concepts I think that you find in life is margin, and having margin to be able to promote 7 versus 13 or 14 makes a huge difference. And it's that way in all things in life, financially, your schedule, what you're into. I mean, margin is like a secret cheat code in some ways.
Yep.
I've often said, owning a small business, the hardest part is saying no. Because like you said, you want to please everybody.
Yep.
You want to build your brand, you know, but if you're going crazy inside, if it's affecting your relationships with your significant others, affecting your employees, then what good is it doing?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's saying being less successful to be more successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's real. Last year was just like we looked at at the top of this year, we looked at 2025 numbers and we're like, cool, so we like made more money than ever and it was really fun and we were happy.
That's our formula.
When we walked in today, you were in like super great mood. I've seen you at times in the store.
What? I've never been
Not that
stressed.
way.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I've never seen you stressed. There was one time I went in. Bob
I think I was with you that time.
Bob was on the phone with a lady.
Oh,
and
yes,
he
yes,
comes
yes.
off, and he had to walk off the floor.
I think
was
he
so
I think he
mad.
threw the phone
Yeah,
on
he
the
did.
ground.
He
Oh
did.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right. He's done that. Bob's got
That was
he's got a wild streak. In him.
Bob, sorry if you listen to this.
Yeah.
Bob, sorry we missed
Yeah.
you today. Hope you feel better.
Yeah.
He's had
Exactly.
a few. He's had a few. Yeah, he's got a little hot streak in him, but I think he's mellowed out. But Bob historically
He's not behind the
is
counter as much now.
Bob historically is also like the worst poker face. Like
Let's
whatever
invite him to poker weekend. Then.
whatever he feels, it's on his face. Whereas I think I can, in general, like, oh, yeah, things are fine. I'm a little bit better at playing pretend, but Bob is not. And if Bob is having a bad day, you know it. And yeah, there was a lot of times. I mean, oh God, man, we've had some customers that have definitely pushed us over the edge. But I think we've gotten so much better, and he has too. He is now like the whisper, and our whole support staff, really, Sarah, Matt, everybody who's in support, George. They are so good at just not getting worked up with the stupidity
Yeah.
that we get on the internet.
I mean,
Just
you kinda have to
having people
get there.
say just the most crazy things. I will tell you the wildest thing Bob has done in recent history, which is, I hope this person hears this. This is crazy. This is beyond crazy, actually. So this kid bought something off of us on Record Store Day, the day after. Something he was trying to flip. And he bought multiple copies. We realized he was flipping or something, and Bob canceled his order. It was like, and I might be getting details wrong. Sorry, Bob. Bob canceled his order. Dude was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, you can't buy multiple copies. You know, it's a Record Store Day item, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's part of the rules.
And this kid went off. I'm not even going to say, he said some wild stuff, like wild, crazy things that he, like, Bob explained, Bob was real like, hey, blah, 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 my employees, advocating for, he was like defending the staff in a really nice, positive way. And this dude was like, I don't give a F about your staff. Like, they can all do the stuff I won't even say it. It's nutty, right? So Bob was like, well, okay, ban, cancel, done, right? No, not the end. Bob and I think Mitch did a little bit of Reddit research, and we were able to figure out like who that we thought it was this guy, like a middle-aged man that was buying these records, but it was actually his son, had the same name. We figured out we have this person's address. Like, this is a mistake. Like,
Dude,
so we have this person's address. We're able to figure out who they are, who the family is. Bob figures out that the mom is a principal at a school locally. So Bob prints out the emails that her son, what she said, what he said to our staff in an email, in a public email, not public email, in an email to us. He prints them out and sends them to her at work.
dude, that's some big, that's like some
that's really
brass
going for it.
balls, like
That
big
is.
cojones, like
And she made the son read the email, read the stuff that he said to us. She made him read it to her.
Really?
Wow.
She called and was like, I am so sorry. Well, first of all, he called because he got wind of it.
Right.
And he was like,
was he even more mad?
are you fucking crazy? He's like, why would you? Like, he was going off.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, dude, you might have just got this kid actually murdered. Like, but she made him read the things that he said to us to her. which was, I mean,
That's
I cannot
amazing.
imagine saying the things that he said to us, to his own
mom.
mother. Yeah.
Oh,
Principal
wow.
mom.
But she was so, like, she was mortified.
Like, how old was this dude? Just tell me he wasn't like
20.
35 or
He was like
something.
21, like college
Sheesh.
kid. But she was just like so embarrassed and mortified. And the wildest thing was like, this is like the sociopathic part of it. Like Bob didn't tell anybody that he
Really?
He just
He
did
didn't
it.
tell
We
anyone,
like joked about doing it. Like, we all joked about doing it.
and he does it.
And then Sarah thought I did it.
Oh,
And
geez.
so I'm upstairs in a meeting with my staff, and Sarah is the one that gets the phone call from this son, hysterical.
Yeah.
And she comes
He's losing
upstairs.
his mind.
This is the most scared I think I've ever been in my whole life. Is when Sarah walked into the meeting, like red and like she's like, "You did it! You actually did it!" And I was like, "What did I do?" And like she said it, and then Bob walked in just like fucking eating nuts or something. It was just like, "What are you guys talking about?" And I was like, "Sarah said that this happened." He's like, "Oh yeah, that was me. Yeah, I did that."
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
What
I
happened?
love Bob even more now.
Yeah.
Dude, that's one of the that's the craziest thing that he's ever done.
Honestly, though, all of us have dealt with the public. Sometimes they just need a check.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just tell sometimes that no one's ever like told
Checked 'em.
somebody. No one's ever been like, "Hey, shut up."
Yeah.
Right.
No one, or you never felt the threat of violence
Yeah.
before. You know, like no, you can just tell.
Yeah.
You know, and this kid definitely hadn't, and he learned.
That's a life lesson there.
It is. Bob's changing the world.
He probably changed his kid's life. Actually.
Bob,
I hope.
I hope.
Bob's emails are so crazy now. They're so good. He's on another tier of like being dismissive, but like pseudo nice.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he always,
That's a skill.
dude. He always says "God bless" at the end of his emails.
Oh, that's my pet
That's
peeve
right.
right there.
Yeah.
It is so like the emails are wild. Like,
Jesus loves you.
yeah, he'll deconstruct their argument and why it's silly in a really nice way and be like, I saw that you called, my general manager, FCAMF, or, and be like, and just be like, we just don't appreciate that sort of language, so we're gonna choose not to do business with you anymore. So you're on our banned list. Here's a cancellation. I hope you seek therapy, and God bless. Have a
Oh,
wonderful day."
man.
Just so like the emails I see go out from support sometimes I'm like, Bob is just like he's exercising, he's taking the anger that he should have now,
amazing.
and he's just like, I'm gonna put it back into you. I'm gonna
Is he in line to be the next Dalai Lama? That's what I want.
I don't think so.
No.
But man, it's wild. We have a channel in Slack called Shit Talking. It's probably our most used channel, I would say. There's some gold. We'd probably all be canceled, I think.
Yeah,
if you just
don't
went-
let it get
Oh,
out.
yeah.
If you just went
Don't
to that channel hard enough.
let it get out.
But man, it's wild. He's definitely gotten a lot more patient over time, and he definitely can kind of see like the things that we used to get really worked up about,
Yeah.
like really Yelp reviews and
Not worth it.
Google reviews. It's like, oh yeah, this person is not well. Like
Yeah.
this
Not worth it.
is a them problem, not me. So
He's about to be a daddy, so that's
Yeah.
even going to be more.
yeah, he
Yeah.
needs to get some humility about him.
Yep, exactly.
Terry, you've been very generous with your time. I want to kind of
Yeah.
move towards a rapid fire round.
Oh, yeah,
and,
do it.
and see if there's.
Man.
I got a list of things here, but I wonder if these guys.
I do too.
Yeah.
Most of my questions, though, and I know we're going long. More around like your studio and you being an engineer, right?
Huh?
And
Yeah.
a producer.
I have a piggyback on that, so I won't
And
finish
so
yours.
I
thought.
have like a lot of questions around that. I'm trying to look through these. And this is one we asked someone else recently too. Well, let me start with this. How do you balance the artist's vision and your own creative instincts?
I'm pretty dictator. As far as I think people that come here to record understand they're coming here because they want me to do my thing with their stuff, as opposed to, or they know our visions align. You know, so
Yeah.
I don't have a whole anymore, at least. Like historically in the early days, there were a few kind of times where it was like clashes. But like for the most part, the visions are usually aligned way before they get here.
Okay.
And even if they get here and there's usually enough trust that, you know, both ways that we're going to be able to follow each other's. If somebody's really advocating hard for something, it's, you know, plus or minus a few percent or something like that. So, yeah, I don't do outside work with anybody. It's only stuff for the label. So I sort of know the end game. Yeah. And if I'm happy with it, then it's getting put out. You know, like we already know it has a home. And so it's like, it's not.
When you're already in on it because they're already here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm less of there's less like my vision and their vision. It's definitely like shared, like here's what we want this to feel and sound like. So,
But when you're behind the board, it's your show.
yeah. I mean, and I think that's what you know, people are coming here. That's what they want. They expect like, oh yeah, I want you to do what you do. You know, I mean, if somebody was coming here and they had like really big specific ideas, like this is the wrong spot for you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you don't want to be here. Like you don't want what I do.
Yeah, my sort of you go. I'm kind of in between, and then maybe you can see how this because you're kind of in this. I just wondered what out of the records you release, how much are you involved in all aspects of it, from them coming in here to record to release?
It's definitely increasing. So last year we put out 7 LPs and 3 of them were done here.
Okay.
I would say, you know, it's somewhere between 1 and 3 of them a year.
Okay.
Hopefully increasing more and more because it's fun. You know, this is the work I like to do, and it just, I don't know. We've found that when we make records here, there's so many other peripheral positive things that happen. Like they're here so we can get video and photo. We can document the event. They're here. I'm not taking a mixing fee. I'm not taking an engineering fee because I'm getting 50% of profit on the label side. I'm not taking a producer fee. So like it saves kind of them money, and and it just, I don't know, it just feels a lot more, it's really cool. It's like, oh, this whole thing was made in Loveland.
Yeah.
Like that's adorable.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really special. Like, it's special that the warehouse is a quarter mile that way, the shop is a quarter mile this way, and all this stuff is happening in this like little tiny town along the bike trail.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
That's what I was thinking when we were setting up, you know, and I don't like to do a lot of pre-work because I want to, you know, hear your story instead of getting from other people's sides. But it's wild. It's in Loveland. And if no one knows, Loveland's like it's not really a suburb of Cincinnati. It's like 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of the burb.
It is right on
I mean,
the
if
edge.
you're like connected to the loop, I consider you part of that. Yeah.
He's in the loop.
Yeah.
What's the wildest or unexpected sound that you've gotten recording? Like sometimes you hear about these things happen. It's like, how was that on the tape? Like, where did that come from? Have you ever had that happen with an artist? Like, what is that? And it's just,
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of the wildest thing from like an engineering standpoint.
or from an amp, or, you know, something that you're like, wow, I didn't know we could get that. You know?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't know if I have a good answer to that.
Okay.
Because it's all sort of like, I don't know. I guess I've done this enough where I'm like, oh yeah, this is what that sounds like. This is what that sounds like. I think I'm consistently shocked with how good this room sounds like, considering it's my basement.
Yeah.
And how big we can make things sound sometimes. But you know, that's just kind of come with time and figuring out like how to fake it and how to use the verb and how to make the room feel bigger than it actually is. Yeah. But I think the only thing that maybe has like shocked me over the years is like how much, especially on those Okonski records, like the room mics, how like the room mics, it's just like so many old jazz records, the room mics, open room and bleed and just room mics are the records, you know, just like a good mic in the middle of a bunch of good players with a good preamp hitting tape. that's it. That's the record.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to overcook it. And yeah, the first Okonski record was very enlightened in that way because most of the record, probably 80% of the mix, is just like these two. This was used on the upright, and then one of those was used as a room mic, and it's like that's 80% of the record is just those two picking up the drums and then the piano, and yeah, it's crazy. I guess that's not a really great, sexy answer.
Old school bluegrass recording.
Yeah, just put one mic up. I think that my general philosophy is like the least amount of stuff possible and the most amount of bleed possible. So
One thing I really liked in a lot of the recordings I listened to that you've put out, and I'm not sure if they're done here or not, I love the drum sounds.
oh yeah, that's all I care about.
That's when I hear that, that's what draws me in. And I'm not a drummer, but I love the drums. And it's like you get killer drum sounds.
I spend almost all the time on drums. Like we do one day of just drum tones before any session starts.
Wow.
Just because I was
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Dirty drums. It's pretty, I mean, also, it's kind of easy. But most people get in their own way. It's easy to execute, but it's hard to get past sometimes mental blocks. We're like, but we could put 10 mics on it. We could. And it's like, yeah, you could, but it sound like nothing or stupid. Whereas if you put one mic and you run it through a dirty preamp and then a tube compressor and then you hit tape, it's like, oh yeah, this is cool. Yeah. This is what old cool records sound like. And so it just automatically like kicks this familiarity thing, and you're like, oh, I already know. This already feels like something to me. This is you know, like a nice loaf of bread. I already know what this is.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm good.
Just really a couple, and then I have like a rapid fire round that I've prepared for you.
I thought that was a rapid.
Yeah, I thought we were in rapid fire.
There'll be like 30 seconds kind of thing. Tell us about the DJs who came through. You had Pete Rock.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's wild, man.
Two guys came. It was Pete Rock and
oh man, who was the other? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget his name.
I can see his face right now.
He came through with Jay Rawls.
Jay Rawls, okay. Yeah,
and because him and Pete are buddies, but like that was wild.
Did they hit you up beforehand?
I think they maybe. Well, Jay Rawls he's been a bud forever.
Okay,
and once we started doing the warehouse sales, he was like, "Hey, I got some homies that like we want to come dig."
Yeah,
and we were like, "Oh yeah, man, just like let us know ahead of time, and we'll make like we've known him forever, and he's just the sweetest human."
Yeah,
we're like, "Yeah, of course, just tell us, we'll open it up, no problem." And yeah, like I forget how long in advance, but he was like, "Hey, I think Pete Rock's coming through to work on some stuff. We're gonna come up," and I was like, "That's actually insane."
It is.
And Pete was so nice.
Yeah,
and just dug through records and still flipped them over so people couldn't see him in the videos. And
nice.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like he still like flipped them over
because he knows what he wants off of there.
Yeah, and he's just like, I don't want anybody to see what I'm doing. I was like, oh my god, it's just you and Jay in here. He was, dude. So both of them were. I mean, we've known Jay Rawls for a long time, but like Pete was so nice, and it's just so cool. It's like, you know, Pete Rock is like a guy that when I was in college, I was like, how do I make beats that sound like Pete Rock? And now Pete Rock is digging in my warehouse. And I'm like, this is surreal.
Still have one of my favorite records in my collection is that Pete Rock sample from the Tom Scott.
Oh my gosh, Honeysuckle Breeze. Yeah. You got From Everybody's for $8.
Probably $9.
Yeah. I remember you told us that. I was like, damn.
Yeah, and it is like pristine. And I probably shrieked when I saw it because I knew I didn't put the cover down because I didn't care. It was in my hand as soon as I saw it. It's amazing. Tell us about Leroy Conroy and Tiger Trot and the collab with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, so Leroy Conroy is my alter ego.
I asked that a question.
That name was gifted to me by my older brother Scott.
Okay.
So, like when I started making some of this instrumental, like kind of moody stuff, I like didn't have a name for it yet, and he called me one day on the way home from work and was like, had this whole like backstory for who Leroy Conroy was and all this stuff, and I was like, cool. I mean, sounds way cooler than Terry Cole. So I was like, that was it, and then
And that song was out for a while. I mean, you'd put that out.
Yeah, it's been out for like
way out.
9 years
Yeah.
now or something. But I mean, when I made that first 45, I was like, I was like sample bait. I was like, I want somebody to sample this.
Yeah.
And eventually DJ Premier sampled it, and with Macklemore, and Phanogram sampled it, and Ghostface Killah and Raekwon sampled it. It's like it's done what it was designed to do.
And then everything you've done,
Jeez.
out of everything you've done, everything we've talked about, now you're dropping like, oh
I
yeah,
know, that's a bomb right there.
Ghostface
It was
Yeah.
killing-
sampled me.
It's wild. It's crazy.
Amazing.
But the Bengals thing came because a couple of social media guys work in and around Loveland, and we kind of just became buds with them.
Yeah.
And they had this idea for the Bengals season a couple years ago to like make each
Each week was a record cover, right?
right, and they kind of pitched us on the idea early. And then as they got to the playoffs and stuff,
Yeah.
it was they were like, "Hey, well, do you have anything?" I remember they were in the office upstairs, and they were like, "Do you guys have any music that you think would be like appropriate and like real heavy?" And I was like, "Well," and Mitch is watching me, and I was like, "We do have this one song. It's actually called Tiger Trot,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's pretty mean sounding." And Mitch pulled it up and begrudgingly played it because he's like, "This is Terry's song. I can't believe I'm doing this." He's like. And they were like, "This is dope."
Was he
And I
begrudging because he knew it was going to be like,
I mean,
yes.
he knew it was going to be and he was like, he's watching me pretend like I am not.
Yeah, just got this little thing back here we've had laid
Yeah,
around.
so he's just like rolling his eyes at me, and I'm like, "Oh, you guys like it? It's pretty. Yeah,
Oh, you like that?
we can probably clear it. Yeah, we can probably be able to clear it. It's no problem." But yeah, that was super fun. That was cool, and that was a big part. That was sort of what not kicked off, but a big goal for Coal Mine over the last few years has been to try to bring the sort of national or global awareness that we feel like we have for the label to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Because people know Plaid Room, but not a ton of people know Coal Mine because I get it. It's a label. People not everybody follows labels. So a big part of our effort has been to how do we eventually be a Cincinnati institution, like the way Sub Pop is in Seattle or something. And so that felt like that was a step in that direction. The partnership with Rheingeist, every year doing a record fair there feels like a step in that direction. So we're just constantly trying to do that to kind of bring the awareness that we feel like we have in the industry in general to Cincinnati. So
I had just a few records. I just want you to give. You can choose what you want to do. You can give just a one-word response, or if you want to just comment on it. I'm just trying to put some people onto some records from your catalog that I love.
Cool, got it.
Close but no cigar, Delvon.
I mean, first and best.
Yeah, I mean I can't tell you how many times I've listened to that record. It's unbelievable.
That's one of my favorite. I mean, that's probably my. It's pretty close to my favorite Blue Note ripoff design style.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good. Oh, I Told You So might be better, but
Yeah.
that one's pretty good. Little dog on it. It's cute. It's adorable.
This also has the coolest cover I think that you've put out. Do you want to guess?
Coolest cover?
Yes.
Like cover song or cover
No,
album cover?
album cover. Sorry, should be clear.
Give me a time period.
I think this was like 18, 19, maybe, no, I don't know. I didn't put a year down. Black Market Brass,
Oh, that is a cool album cover.
Undying Thirst.
Yeah, that's a
I
cool
mean,
album
that
cover.
is
It's a mean out.
striking.
And it's reflective of the music too.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
absolutely as aggressive as it sounds. and
Yeah,
looks.
just going back to that Surefire record, like you look at the record and you're like, yep, that's exactly what the music sounds
yeah.
like. I mean,
And sometimes you want, and I think most of the time we kind of do want that,
yeah,
but we definitely have a record coming out soon that we're literally going to the opposite of that. We want the most random thing
yeah.
on this cover as possible. It has nothing to do with any of the music.
I like
but yeah, those two, they're pretty close.
We've already talked about the first Duran record.
Mm-hmm.
Just a word or a thought on that.
Yeah, paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shift for us.
I wanted to tell you as well. I live in Piqua, Ohio, which you already knew, but people listening may not know.
Pickwad.
I'm a Pickwad. Begrudgingly, it's the worst. It's the worst thing you could ever call yourself. We just got an Olive Garden. I
I
don't
can
want to
think of a
brag.
few things.
I don't want to.
We just got an Olive
We
Garden.
just got an Olive Garden. I don't want to brag, but
Whoa!
Ponderosa's next.
yeah.
Stop the presses.
But we were
Pasta bowl.
in Olive Garden. My wife and I went. There's no place to get eggplant parmesan anywhere near me,
Yeah.
and nobody at my house likes it except me, and I love it. So yeah, it's good and it's
great.
decent. So we went in. Drean Jones playing over the loudspeaker in Olive Garden in Pico, Ohio. I was like, dang, Terry would just love this with a breadstick right now.
Honestly, I think I'm kind of, I take for granted how cool that still is.
Oh,
Because, I mean, I remember when I would be in stores, I remember just being like, how do we do this?
yeah.
How do we do this? And I mean, I can't go into Lowe's without hearing Kelly Finnegan on
Yeah.
Monophonics.
Yeah.
I mean, it stays playing. And I can't
Yeah.
go into Starbucks or Chipotle. I heard Leroy Conroy in Chipotle the other day, and I was like, this is crazy. And, like, I'm listening to my own music that I made a mile away while this kid's just not making my burrito right. If he was doing a really good job, I might be like, hey man, you don't want to know something crazy? I made this song a mile away, but I don't really want to distract you
Right.
Because
you're already doing a not great job. So,
Basic.
but that stuff is crazy, and like that always felt like, you know, it just feels like those things like, how do you do that? How do you do that? And then
Did it,
eventually, you know, you figure it out, and you're like, God, that's so cool. Like it's still cool to me. Like
Yeah.
the first time Mom heard a Kelly Christmas song in Target, she
Oh,
was like,
wow.
she was like, Terry, I don't know if you know this. I was just at Target and heard the Kelly song that you two wrote upstairs. You guys are like famous now. And I'm like, no, we're not, but it's pretty cool.
Still pretty dope.
Cool. Yeah.
Pretty dope. Harlem Gospel Travelers, he's on time.
Oh yeah, man. That was the first time I worked with Eli, Paperboy Reed.
Yep,
And that
pretty
was
big.
that felt like checking a box. Like we always wanted to do a dirty gospel record, and that's a special one. They were young.
Yeah.
They were super young, and that album cover is probably the hardest I've ever worked in my whole adult life to make
Really?
it like. We had this guy did a great design, but we had to do so much work to make it look like an old gospel.
Yeah.
The guy who did all these old gospel records, his name is Harvey. He did like over 500 album covers, like Sun Ra, and then all this weird jazz stuff and all these gospel records. And he was the guy. Nobody knows who he is, but he always signed all of them Harvey, so nobody knows who he is. But he did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And we were trying to make it look like that. And it's really hard to make a digital rendering look like an oil painting, a psychedelic oil painting. But I'm very proud of that record. And Aaron's playing drums in that, I believe.
Yeah. That's probably born out of that whole Brooklyn scene
yeah.
that you got hooked up with.
Yep.
Yeah. Last one, and stylistically, it's different than most of what you put out, and might be my favorite record in your entire catalog. Rockstone,
Oh,
Junior Thomas and the Volcanoes.
man. I'm with you, dude. That record is just perfect.
Oh, I listened to it Wednesday night. I'm going to Ash Wednesday service. Of course, that's what you listen to is Junior Thomas.
Yeah, gotta get your Catholic on.
Yeah,
Catholic and Jamaicans.
yeah. I put "Come Down the Hill" just blaring that record.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's crazy good.
Rocksteady. Well, I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, like golden era rock steady reggae.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, or lovers rock, as some would call it. Some of
Proto
that style.
reggae.
Yeah, it's just perfect.
Yeah. How'd you guys come on that record?
So the first Junior Thomas record came out on Truth and Soul
Yeah.
right before Truth and Soul folded, and we loved that record.
Which you
And
reissued.
we
that one,
reissued
right?
later, yeah, and we loved that record. And I think I just hit up Tom on Instagram. I think I was just like, "Yo, bro, you making anything anymore? Like, you still doing stuff?" And he lives in Minneapolis. His name's Tom.
Hello. We're going to Minneapolis in August.
Oh, are you really? Yeah,
Yes.
dude. Tom's a sweetheart.
would he interview us?
I'm sure, man. Tom's so nice.
Get that connection.
Yeah, he's Tom McDowell. You know,
Okay.
Thomas McDowell, just the type of name you
course.
expect to make reggae.
Yeah.
But he was like, actually, I'm finishing up a record right now, and I was like, oh, man, well, we're open. Like, we're open for biz. And so yeah, that's how I met Ray Hasildo, who tours with the Black Keys and JD McPherson, and Ray is almost done with the record. He's on the big board. We're like nearly done with his first debut.
We probably not take a picture of that.
I mean, it's fine. I don't care. It's fine. But Ray's record is like, oh, it's beautiful. It's like Ray's sort of framed it as like, it's like a Ramsey Lewis trio with strings
Oh,
type of record. And it's kind of like a love letter from Ray to the Philippines. And
vocals.
no, it's all instrumental.
Okay.
It is beautiful. So we had a string quartet down a few weeks ago. We finished all the strings here. All the rhythm section was done here. It's a very special record. And Ray is playing piano on all those records. He
Okay.
also plays and did a bunch of the backgrounds and all the organ. But yeah, I love that Junior Thomas record.
Oh
It's a
my
monster.
gosh, it's so good. Did that record get nominated for? No,
No.
No. Okay.
I have
wish.
one last question.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of the Cecil Collins Trio?
Cecil Collins Trio.
We'll show you the cover for the album maybe after we get done. You won't
You
want-
will. You will
That's
hear.
Dan's alter ego.
Yeah,
Cecil Collins. Cecil
Yep.
Collins sounds like somebody.
Yeah.
He does, doesn't he?
it does.
Oh, and wait till you see the picture after
wait,
this. You'll
yeah.
say he's somebody.
You'll probably sign him just on sight alone.
Just side alone.
You'll be like, oh, we need
We
we
need
need
that.
this kind
We
of
need
vibe
that.
on the roster.
Really that.
Dan's pretty soulful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do have a pretty soulful voice. I'm
Boy,
saying-
Sprinkle, do you have
serious.
anything? You Sprinkle, you're over there.
Come on, buddy.
I've no further.
No further. Okay.
Your Honor.
We only get him on the mic occasionally, and sometimes it's a little more pointed when we're talking about stuff he's into.
Thanks for doing
Yeah,
this.
man.
Harry,
This
thank you
is
so
awesome.
much,
This is really
man.
cool.
It's
Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Bringing us into your world. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no worries. I love it down here. I love this office. I love this house. My
Beautiful.
life is good.
Oh, it's awesome.
I'm just lucky to be here.
yeah.
So,
Thanks,
Yeah,
Terry.
Thank you.
so of course,
Thanks,
guys.
Terry.
Peace.
Gotta bring it around again.